What's up, what's up, what's up? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the anniversary stream, guys, friends, Romans, countrymen. It's been a pleasure. Been at this now for a little over a year. I punched my natty card basically a year ago. I was kind of half natty for the tail end of last year and finally took the plunge to go natty, or to go enhanced, and here we are. It's honestly been a pretty crazy year. In a lot of ways, I'm both a little bummed and a little excited, all things considered. I feel like more could have been done, strength gains wise. It was pretty epic. PRing with 405 on the deadlift, getting back into the 300s for squats is super, super cool. Getting my block pulls to over 140 was really, really exciting. The recomp was obviously super great. It would have been cool to climb a little bit harder than V6 on the boards, but whatever. That's just more skill acquisition. I'll get there. We got to try a boatload of compounds, so I'm just going to go ahead and start working on the PowerPoint for this video that I will be doing for the year in review. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Yeah, that's absolutely going to be super loud. Welcome in. Yeah, the amount of compounds that I ran this year is kind of bananas if we're being honest. What are we gonna do? I think that's probably fine for now. So I was actually counting how much stuff I've tested this year, and holy crap, man. I have ran a total of 15 different compounds this year. That's not nothing. I haven't decided. Alright, let's throw that in there. But yeah, frankly, an unhinged amount of compounds if we're talking about the totality. What would be a fun slide to throw in here? If anyone has any guesses to my favorite compounds of the year, you're welcome to put them in. this one. Frankly, an unhinged amount. Yep, Reto was on there. What up, Billy? Hold on. Let me... duplicate this so that I can start putting stuff down. Because when I wrote it all out, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's... Like, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 of the compounds, everything is pretty much all known entities, and it's not that big a deal. But you just start listing, and you're like, man, 15 different things. It's a pretty ambitious year. So we had testosterone with 3 different esters. Masteron. Or slightly... Oh, it's going to annoy me. I'm going to have to level those out. Just print Primo for the first time last night. Anavar. You were right with Retta. Then we have Motzi. SLUPP332, obviously. What else did we have in there? We had L-carnitine, tadalafil, aka Cialis, HCG, Aromacin, I gotta check back on my phone actually. Oh yeah, that's right, GHK Copper. Jesus Christ, that hurt. Oh, I forgot about NPP, growth hormone, and I'm just going to move this stuff over. Dude, creatine doesn't count. That shit's... Like, yes, that's in there on the daily. But creatine's like saying you drink coffee. Like, yeah, I took caffeine as well, but we knew that. That was never in question. Okay. Is that going to work? Nice. I'll figure out some of the stuff. I'm not super worried. Ah, shit. Yeah, I should be better at making PowerPoints by now, but apparently not. Yeah, I think GHK Copper actually wins the award for the most painful shit I've ever penned. It ended up actually like burning my forearm. It was like burning from the inside out. That was pretty brutal. That's why I don't take it anymore. Okay. That's right. NPP, even though you can't see it because of that, I'll figure that out later. Growth hormone BPC 157. It was something else, right? No, I think that was it. Yeah, that's 15 things. If you guys remember if I took anything else, please let me know. It's alarming, the amount of random shit. Like, when you list it out like that, you're like, oh, shit. Might be a lot. Yeah, unfortunately, none of this is confidential. This is just stuff I put on the internet for funsies. I'll number that stuff later. So of all of this stuff, testosterone was my favorite. If you are newer to the channel, so I used to take, in the beginning, I was taking testosterone propionate. And the reason is it's a fast ester, and it's really good to be able to make changes up or down. So if estradiol starts going high, or if you're getting a little bit watery, it's really easy to titrate up or down because the half-life is less than 24 hours. Really easy to make changes. But at around the 5 or 6 month mark in taking it, when I paired it up with my Masteron, which was also a propionate, my body just developed some sort of allergy to the carrier oil in the propionate. So initially it was actually like right in time for my buddy's wedding. This was so fucked. I just started getting like really splotchy. So my legs were just, it looked like hives. And initially I thought, okay, maybe I just have hives. It's no big deal. For a split second, I thought I had an infection or something. But no, it was just an allergic reaction to the carrier oil. So I switched over to SIP, and immediately everything was fine. So I dropped the masts, basically just swapped over to TRT for a couple of weeks, and yeah, everything was fine. But man, just being splotchy and itchy, that shit sucked. I have since found some Masteron and Ante, which doesn't make me break out, which is awesome. But I haven't run it for too long. Mostly because of some acne, and I actually don't even blame the Masteron for that. I blame my eating. If I eat too much sweets or too much fat, I just break out really bad. It sucks. When I was in Japan, my acne got real bad because I was eating all the fucking candy and all of the desserts, and it was awesome. But yeah, brutal acne, especially when it's brutal on no drugs. It's a bummer. Primobolan, I haven't tried for more than a day, but I have high hopes. Retatrutide, I mean, you're in the Discord, man. You saw what it looks like for me to just drop weight in 2 weeks. It's bananas. I can't believe more climbers aren't using this shit. It's actually baffling. Motzi, I might leverage again during this weight cut. Not that I think that it's really good for fat loss. I think it's kind of whatever. But it does drive energy, and it is really helpful for energy in a calorie deficit. Especially after days like yesterday, when I was just nuked from heavy squats, Motzi probably would have helped me be more productive instead of just incredibly sore and a piece of shit. That's unfortunate. Slew, I should probably leverage during this cut just because it's an amazing fat burner and it would help me with my workload. L-carnitine, always great. Big fan of it. If you get the cognitive benefits from it, I think you should run it. Also, it's just benign. It's a great thing. If you're going to pin oils for your first time, I think L-carnitine is the move. Tadalafil is WADA approved, and Cialis is fun if you are in a relationship and you want to get better blood flow both in the bedroom and in the gym. Cialis is awesome, and it's also great blood pressure regulation too. It's just a low-key awesome compound. So, yeah, huge fan of Tadalafil. HCG, it was a fertility med that I'm a huge fan of. Oh man, the uptick in my sex drive when I started that was bananas. Dude, not even COVID could stop me. It was pretty crazy. It's still technically it's what I would call half natty. So the true natty folks would be like, yeah, no, that's exogenous hormones, and that's true, but it's not exogenous testosterone. It's basically exogenous LH and FSH. Or, I mean, I could go a little more specific with it, but it's basically going to upregulate your LH and FSH to drive more testosterone through your balls naturally, and it's a great fertility med. It's also great as post-cycle therapy, so if you want to get on gear and keep your balls working, you could easily throw in 200 IUs of HCG 3 times a week, and that can help you out. You can really go up to about 300, 330 before you really need an AI. It's pretty dope. Use some Aromasin to use as my AI to take care of the excess estradiol. I already mentioned GHK, Jesus. Growth hormone I'm finally starting to tolerate, which is really cool. I don't know if maybe my growth hormone is just old. I've had it for probably like 10 months now. But I just ordered some from China. So we'll see what happens when that comes in. I finally can take 3 IUs and tolerate it without my hands blowing up like fucking balloons. BPC helped with some of the inflammation on my fingers. I'm probably going to run some of that again because I heard someone say that it helped with their tendonitis, and I'm like, all right, bet. And I ran NPP for a couple of weeks, and the water retention was still too high. And I think 19 NORs aren't great for rock climbers. If you want to run NPP, I mean, by all means you can, but I think it's probably just too anabolic. And I've known, so one of the other climbers, the dopes that I've talked to, he ran NPP, or he ran DECA because he really liked it and ended up putting on too much muscle, and it took him a fuckload of time to get rid of. So that kind of sucked. So yeah, that's kind of like the rundown of everything I've tested. Next year, EQ is on the menu. I'm probably going to like man up and throw some Halo in there for a couple of days. I'm kind of spooked about that. I'm not ready to be an irritated motherfucker, but I think it's worth it for a 1 or 2 day test. I should really try to source some Turinabol. That's the only thing I don't have in my cabinet that I really want to test. I think T-ball is probably a thing. That and potentially YK11. I don't like SARMs. In general, my thought is that it's not worth running them when there are better tools available. It does seem to be relatively dry. It doesn't seem to have the same water retention as some of the other anadrol-like anadrol-like compounds. And so whenever I run TRT, basically my estrogen gets in the high 40s, and that's about as high as I want to run it. So YK does seem to be slightly estrogen suppressive, which is one of the reasons why I'm running Primo. So I could see myself potentially running YK at some point next year. So we'll see what happens. Next up, what else? Oh man, do you guys know all the fucking experts we talked to this year? You probably don't. We spoke with Kurt Havens. We spoke with Dr. Todd. We spoke with Colton Lukes. I haven't had a full-blown conversation with Dean St. Mart yet. That's on the list of people that I want to speak to. If we're talking about like climbing coaches, fuck, dude, I kind of ran the gamut. That would be too long to put in here. We've reached out to the folks from Lattice, the Nugget, the Climbing Struggle Show, Tyler from Camp 4 Human Performance, Useful Coaching. That dude's a sweetheart. I like that guy a lot. Also, you guys should absolutely follow him. He seems like a really, really, really nice dude. Caitlin Gouet, I think her name is. Another speed climber. She's a really nice girl too. Ava Fitzgerald. I adore her. She's the homie. I want to say infinitely nice things. I experimented with climbing on different pre-workouts. Yeah, I have. I've used... So most of the pre-workouts that I use are energy drinks. So I like Ghost Energy. I like the Gorilla Mind. I've ran their Nitric before. And, dude, it's a fucking head rush. That shit's potent. As far as, like, their nitric stuff for pumps, I haven't really noticed too much of a difference. But I'm sure if I were doing long sport routes, that would be different. I think it's worth experimenting. I just don't do enough sport climbing right now to really do that. Hold on. Who should we put in the fourth category? Or who should we put in the fourth box? We could throw Ben Galper in there. I actually want to try his pull-up program, to be honest. Depending on... Oh, man, yeah. Actually, that's true. Dude, I would love to try smelling salts. Holy shit. I want to deadlift doing smelling salts in the worst way. I also would like to do some dyno practice on smelling salts. That shit sounds awesome. I actually had a really cool conversation with Phil Viz about this, or about steroids for climbing, so I could include him on there too. Fucking cool dude. Man. I feel like Leo used to talk shit about Phil. I don't know if that's true. I definitely remember his name from... By the way, of all of the people that I spoke to, the guys that I had the best conversations with, Kurt probably gave me the best info. Colton, number 2. As far as actual anabolic shit, Todd was kind of a miss. He had really cool theories that I thought were helpful. The way he broke down understanding your reactions to anabolics, that's where I thought he shined the best. His N=1 theory is super, super good. And Phil Viz had some really nifty concepts on growth hormone timing that I wasn't prepared to see. But yeah, definitely interesting folks. I also spoke a bit to Vigorous Steve, but not like... I didn't have like a 30-minute talk with him. Would have liked one though. Should probably start Kurt Havens. If you guys aren't hip to Kurt. You should be. Legitimately one of the goats of the game. And also, I don't know how terminally on Instagram you guys are, but one of the guys that actually gave me some pretty decent info was Runvis, if you know Garrett. I assume you probably don't. He's been talking hellish shit to all the folks in the science-based lifting community. That dude's been on a fucking crusade. It's been hilarious. But me and Garrett, or I met him in one of the Discords that I hang out in. We used to fucking argue like teenagers, or like brothers. It was funny. We don't agree on much, but he's a good dude. Actually, that's not true. We don't, on lifting, we agree pretty much like perfectly. I like that dude's actually really dope on lifting. As far as like some personal shit, he's on some Christian shit that I'm just not on, but dude's really on top of it when it comes to lifting. All right. Dr. Todd. Oh, Dr. Todd Lee. That's what it is. Dude, this guy's such a trip. Depending on when you catch this dude, he is unhinged. And I kind of fucking love it, if we're being honest. Jesus. Interesting character. Interesting character. I think a lot of folks have been getting turned on to Colton. I don't want to do my boy dirty. That's his LinkedIn photo? Jesus. Yeah, unironically, if you don't know, when Colton got off gear, he just completely transformed from like this fucking diesel motherfucker. He started growing his hair back. Pretty wild. Yeah, he was still pretty saucy back then. Come on, dude. Not trying to do you dirty. You should probably go to your Instagram for this shit. Yeah, I think this is kind of how people... This motherfucker. So funny enough, Colton was one of the first guys that I talked to about PEDs. He's a fucking great dude. Really happy for his success. He fucking crushed it on YouTube this year. Really proud of him. A lot of his opinions on women and women's protocols, I tend to borrow a lot from him. If you've only seen a couple of his videos recently, dude, you got fucked. So Colton used to make the best anabolic content in the game. Like, better than Steve, better than, like, different than Kurt or Dean, but, like, really well produced, incredibly well organized, would include cycle design. Colton's breakdown on Masteron that he took down is unironically the best Masteron breakdown on the internet. If you haven't seen his first cycle design video, you absolutely should. It's so good. But yeah, as he started getting more into like the steroid drama of it, he pulled a lot of his old content, which sucks for everyone else. But yeah, he's more in the drama slop game, and good for him. But Jesus Christ, it was the best content on the internet. You might be able to like ask him for it. I've tried to, like, he sent me a link that he privated of his Masteron video, and I just couldn't see it because I wanted to use it as a reference. Cause, yeah, it's so fucking good. That dude is so fucking smart. I can't believe he's not even 30 yet. Autistic in all of the best ways. I fucking love Colton. He's a good dude. Fucking Phil Viz. Yeah, this dude. Honestly, the most random dude that I talked to. I don't even remember what I commented on. It might have been one of... Oh, I think it was like Paul Barnett. And we somehow started talking about... Or I was talking about climbing because fucking obviously. And this dude just fucking loves climbing. Like, he was telling me about watching Free Solo and all this other shit, and yeah, Phil Viz apparently really fucking loves climbers, has big respect for him. So we ended up talking for like half an hour, and just, I was telling him about my protocol, and he gave me some feedback on GH and how to work around it. It was fucking really nice dude, gave me some free advice. I appreciate Phil Viz. I'm not going to like vouch for his protocols or anything. Some of his shit seems like a little out of left field, but anyone that wants to give me suggestions and hear me out and listen to my protocols and give feedback, I fucking appreciate that. And coach. Coach. I think Colton is a NABA pro. Yeah, I'll fill that in later. Of all of these guys, I think Kurt was probably... I actually spoke to Kurt first, and he was both the most correct as well as, yeah, just a fucking charming dude. Hit the nail on the head out of the gate. Super smart. I spoke to him probably in February, and the protocols I end up going back to are his. So, yeah, fucking super smart dude. Oh, God. I wish I saved some of the comments from the fucking Lattice video. That shit would have been so good. Oh, man. Amazing. Amazing. That's way too big. I know I saved the full conversation that I had with Josh. At some point or another, I'm considering rebroadcasting it. Like, in the event that I do, there's honestly not that much content. It's mostly me talking and him asking questions. Yeah, maybe. Dude, they still are cracking down on all of their comments. Like, I could show you this. It's honestly cartoonish. I feel so bad for their social media manager. Okay. 18K views, right?
Yep.
How many comments? 46. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. And they always leave one steroid comment just so it's like, oh yeah, we're not deleting them. And it's like, come on, dog. It's fun. I ain't mad at it. It's fine. Let the UK scene take jabs at me. They could do it. I'm trying to talk to more coaches about PEDs for climbing. If you have any coach that you think I should reach out to, please let me know. Oh, God. God, I'm trying to remember the name of this really nice pro. She was a UK pro. Oh boy, was she mad at me though. Louise Climbs, that's who it was. Louise Flockhart. She's fucking strong. I'm pretty sure there was another pro I was arguing with, but I'll figure it out later. Dude, Natasha Barnes got so pissed at me. Jesus. I suspect a couple things about Natasha. I think she's pretty pro. She's pretty pro being natty, and I can appreciate that. She was like, "No, don't risk your hormones," and I'm like, "That's not really the point." And it was also one of those things where I said, "The stronger you are and the more muscle you have, the leaner you get." And she's like, "Nah." I think there's like a lot of fear around just being honest about how lean you can get with a lot of the eating disordered folks. And, you know, maybe they're not ready for what I have to say yet. That's okay. That's okay. To be honest, I think a lot of ladies, particularly a lot of female pros, and obviously the men pros that deal with eating disorders, and I think when I talk about being lean, it kind of triggers some shit, and I can appreciate that, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So, and if they don't want to promote that, I think I understand that, but, you know, you kind of have to call it like it is at a certain point, and the more muscle you're able to retain while being leaner, it's just going to opt for better climbing. It also drives me crazy where it's like, oh, you're just artificially making yourself leaner. It's like, no, you're doing it temporarily. That's obviously not going to be your baseline. You can't sustain it forever, but you can sustain it, or you can sustain it for a comp or for peaking for a climb. So, you know, it's fine. If I'm honest, my blood pressure is up like 7 or 8 points. I don't love that. I need to do more cardio. I'm fucking slacking on that. I should really fucking fix that. By the way, my blood pressure is still like, I think it's 131, like 131 over 70, which is fine. Hold on. Page 40. Yeah. So I think I'm at like 130. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think that most climbers are. That's the plan, Billy. I do plan on being on test for the rest of my life. At some point or another, if I do want to restart my endocrine system, like that's a thing that I could do, and I know guys that do it. Pete Rubish, who's a fucking mad lad, just went cold turkey and went from being on all the juice to being on nothing. I kind of decided when I started this that this was the path forever, and I've been pretty open about that, but I don't know. The short answer is I like being on test more than I like being natural, and being on test isn't expensive, so yeah, that's kind of the plan. I don't think that this is necessarily the best plan for everybody, but it's my plan. So you can do with that information what you will. Unless there's a medical reason for me to come off test, in which case, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But believe it or not, I'm part of the affiliate program for fucking Magnus's shit. I don't think Magnus knows what I'm doing. I don't even remember the name. Oh, Rungi, that's it. Like, in general, I do think that folks, if they opt to go enhanced, should probably be prepared to do it for life. Or at least be on TRT for life. obviously there are people that are going to want to like jump on and then jump off, and there's nothing wrong with trying it for like a month and figuring out if it's for you. But I took this, like, I knew I was going to do this for probably 20 years. I knew I wanted to do this within my first month of climbing and waited 6 years. Like, this was the plan for a long, long time. This wasn't some like spur of the moment thing. Okay, I can clean that up later. I think it's way more interesting to talk about state-sponsored doping stuff. Okay. That's true. Magnus has collabed with heaps of juicers. Dude, shout out to Larry Wheels and his crippling OnlyFans addiction. Jesus Christ. That's oof. Like, I don't kink shame around here. That's not really my business. But if you're spending 6 or 7 figures on cam girls, like, bro, you need help. Like, where are you? Like, I know he has friends that are trying to look out for him and just like, what do you even do with that? I might try to find some of the Icarus stuff to stream just because it's so crazy fascinating when you hear how Gregory thinks. The dude basically lived the book 1984 for a while, and the guy is just so fucking smart. His mom was pinning Winstrol with him when he was like, I think a teenager. It's fucking crazy. By the way, I think I was actually kind of wrong on the Duchess cocktail. I think initially I thought it was Anavar, Primo, and Tren, but it seems more likely that it's Anavar, Turinabol, and Superdrol, which makes so much more sense for sublingual administration. I haven't really heard of anyone doing sublingual Tren or sublingual Primo, although I guess technically you probably could. It's probably just not ideal. But yeah, I'm almost positive. If you did Tren Ace, the clearance time would be pretty fine. If you did Primo Prop, you could get away with it. I don't know if Primo Prop exists. I want to say in the 80s. Dude, that team was legendary. Billy, have you ever seen the Zach Tellender recounting of the Bulgarian lifters in the it was either in the 70s or 80s? Did you hear about that? Because if you haven't, we might react to it because it's fucking incredible. Okay. Oh God, how do you get busted with HGH at the airport? That's Babytown Frolics. I'm probably gonna load up that video because I want to show that to you. Okay, you're not ready for this. I promise you, you've never. Okay.
Hey guys, do you ever just max out 3 times a day, and after you max your snatch and clean and jerk, you also max your front squat? Do you guys ever do that? Well, if you...
So I'm just going to sort of set the stage here. So the Bulgarian weightlifting team, I think, still currently has certain records. And this whole program just fucking broke people. It was the most unhinged thing that has ever existed in the weightlifting protocols. So there was this one coach that was just feeding guys, I think it was Deanna Ball like candy. And when you think about the doses, malpractice is like an understatement. This is borderline criminal. And I think he did this to the women too. But this story is tremendous. Obviously, I'm going to link this in the description. Support Zach and his music career. Zach's awesome. But this is the most legendary hard... Like, you think you've trained hard, and I promise you, you have not trained hard until you realize what the Bulgarians are doing. Like, this team was legendary.
If you did, you'd be probably doing some of the
Bulgarian-style training.
That term, Bulgarian training, is, again, a bit of a misnomer. We like to talk about misnomers here on this channel. The reason it is because truly, the Bulgarian system of training, not many, if any, people are doing. Usually you would have to, in order to call it Bulgarian training, you would need one man and one man only, and that is Ivan Abadjev. Now, Max Ada trained with Ivan Abadjev and actually did that Bulgarian system. And he has a video on this. You guys all need to watch it. And it really puts forward the...
we should watch it at some point or another. I'm actually going to make a note that I want to watch Max's video on this. Speed climbing team for what country? Oh, USA? All right. I'll check that out. By the way, this wasn't like a 1 week thing. This was just like Tuesday.
Blunt idea of Bulgarian training. For a while there, that term, Bulgarian, was being thrown around in the powerlifting world and just regular strength and conditioning. And I think what that meant was just like higher frequency, low rep, and heavy lifting. You know, it still wasn't
Survival of the only people that could still stand.
Even close to the Bulgarian training. You guys should watch this and get motivated, as I did when I first watched it. As a weightlifter, you really shouldn't train like this very often. Honestly, like 95% of the time, you should not be training like this. If you do train like this, it's only a fraction of what these guys end up actually doing. However, sometimes you gotta let the ego fly a little bit.
Yep.
You know, very rarely though, you gotta go and you gotta grit your teeth and you gotta fucking lift heavy. Because that's what this sport is.
Yep.
It's a display of one rep. And these guys do that year round.
Year round. Like 365, 24/7, chasing PRs, maxing out, chasing PRs, maxing out. Imagine maxing out multiple times a day. I couldn't fathom. Like, I had one really good set of squats the other day, and I was nuked for 24 hours. I couldn't imagine just going back and doing that 2 hours later. Like, god damn, dude.
It goes so hard. There was a ton of drug use, and Ivan Abadjev, the coach, was not afraid to talk about this drug use. I did a video about Matt Fraser on the Joe Rogan podcast. Definitely check this video out. But in it, I talk about a lifter called Valentin Hristov, who was recruited by Abadjev when he was like 18 years old because he had snatched 160 and clean and jerked, I think, around 180 something. Was recruited by...
We're talking about kilos right now.
Ivan Abadjev, started taking a metric fuck ton of drugs. And I think in like 12 weeks, his snatch went up to like 180 and his clean and jerk went right into the 220s, something ridiculous like that.
So imagine putting on 40 kilograms on lifts in a matter of months. Like, I can't fathom. By the way, I would have paid so much money to just like see these guys' blood work from beginning to where they ended up. You got to imagine that their livers were just unbelievably cooked. By the way, you think you're ready for the amount of drug use that's coming? I promise you you're not. Literally popping D-ball like M&Ms. And you think I'm exaggerating. I can assure you.
They just rinsed and repeated until he did over 200 in the snatch and 250 in the clean and jerk. In the meantime, he was peeing a cola-colored pee, and he was...
Cola-colored piss, man. My God.
seeing spots. So that's the type of D-ball
So yeah, his blood pressure wasn't great.
use that we're actually talking about here. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. Okay. All right, let's go. So this first lifter, his name is Zlatan Vanev, and he's probably one of the most notorious psychopaths on the Bulgarian team. He trains like a crazy person, as you will see right now displayed. So he takes the jump from 120 to 150. Not that crazy, actually, for lifters who are in shape. I would suspect a lot of these guys go from 120 to 170. So, and here's another thing. Randy Strauss.
Like, I warm up pretty heavy. Like, I'm probably doing 5 or 6 sets just to get into my working weight because I'm an old man. Oh, yeah. No, this is legitimately war crime shit. You could never redo this. People would have to do this to themselves, like bodybuilding. This is some World War II level war crime shit. It's pretty crazy. I couldn't imagine just making jumps like this in weight. These guys are obviously the elite of the elite.
Strawson is the guy who filmed this. Randy Strawson is the creator of Iron Mind. They do a lot of arm lifting, so that's like grip training. But Iron Mind is I
actually should check out Iron Mind. I'm just going to make a note of that. Anyone that does arm lifting and stuff like that, that's content I should be reviewing.
YouTube goldmine. Go there after watching this, and you will go down the finest rabbit hole you could ever go down.
Deal. Gonna do that now while you talk. Zach, you're a mensch. You deserve way more
of watching
subs.
weightlifting training. I can't praise Randy Strawson enough for taking a VHS camcorder and a tripod to these events and filming, because god damn it are they exciting, and god damn it are they motivating. But he continually calls the wrong number on these lifts. So like, we just did 150, and now you can see the 5s, the 2.5s, and the 2.5 kilo clips. So that's 170, but he calls it 160. And yeah, let's go on. So again, 150 to 170, nothing that crazy for a guy in this shape.
130 in the snatch. We're talking about how these guys take pretty big jumps.
So that's 170, right? So look, okay. So he calls this 180. Randy calls this 180. If we have 150 with the one set of yellows, we add in another yellow, that's 30 more kilos, that's 180, plus the 2.5, plus the 2.5 kilo plate, or 2.5 kilo collar. So this is 190.
190 kilo jump. So that's probably like a 40 or 50 kilo jump. Imagine just like jumping in your warm-ups by like 80 pounds. Good God. Also, this dude doesn't look like he's over 200 pounds. Like, this might be a 180 pound like weight class, and this guy's snatching over body weight. Like, good God.
170 to 190, pretty baller jump. I think he absolutely flatlines this lift though, and you can see the bar is lined up closer to his toes. He really yanks when he pulls this bar off the floor. Chest comes up, and he's just pushing through his toes as hard as he can. So much speed, and aggression. It's mainly aggression. Like, it's obviously he's fast.
Okay. 190 kilos is basically my fucking deadlift right now. It might even be more than my deadlift, and this dude is just snatching it on like a normal Tuesday. And he's bigger than me, but not that much.
But he just turns it on. Okay.
200 right here.
So now he calls it 200 when it's 210, right? Am I taking
It's inconceivable.
crazy pills, Randy? Am I taking crazy pills? I feel like Mugatu, when he says Derek Zoolander only has one look. This is 180 plus now the greens, which are 10 kilo plates, which would make it 200 plus the 2.5 and the 2.5 kilo collar, making that 210. Please. This is 210. So the reason I bring this up is because Randy keeps calling his finishing weight, which you guys are going to see, 210, but this is 210. I think at the time, his body weight's probably right around 80 to 85. I mean, that's a huge window right there, but...
So 85 kilos is like 170, 175, I think. So this guy's... Jesus Christ. Basically snatching triple his weight. I can't fathom that shit, dude. I can't fathom.
Some of you probably will know more. Again, the barbell's closer to the toes here, and he just goes vertical.
This is so violent.
There's not much technically to grasp here because let me pause it real quick. There's not much technically to grasp from that because it's like, it's so individual, right? Like if you out there were about to say, okay, I'm going to put the bar closer to my toes and I'm just going to pull my chest up as hard as I can. It's likely that you will be deficient somewhere, right? This is why I made the You Are Not Lou video, the You Are Not Klokov video, because you cannot replicate what these guys do because you're not replicating what these guys do.
No, I couldn't. There are certain folks that are just spooky strong. Yves Graval, Ben Galper. There are a lot of guys that are like this. It's fine to watch these guys for inspiration and to just see how unhinged they can be. All right, let me see if I can go forward.
To be honest, I think that the oscillation of the barbell continually messes with him on this.
Because I don't care about proper lifting technique.
Maybe a class lighter? Just so aggressive. Like, they're just so reckless. And just, they have such a f*** you attitude. Boom, 205. Knocked it down. That was a tough lift. Okay, so Randy says 210 again. I'm saying 220. A 220 clean and jerk.
Triple body weight, by the way.
What attempt are we on? Are we on 3 here? That one he timed up the oscillation a little bit better. And it didn't catch him as much, but... Okay.
Pacing back and forth.
Oh my god.
So, if you're not grunting when you're lifting, I assume you're not trying. I think that's a pretty lukewarm take. And that doesn't mean everyone needs to go full clip all the time. But when the weight starts to slow, you will hear me grunt across the gym. And I'm sorry. I'll apologize and give you a volume warning, but this is required, in my opinion.
He dislocated his elbow. Dislocated on 205. So if he's doing 210 for reps on his comeback. These guys are crazy.
Oh!
Stories that the Bulgarians, it's like, okay, if you don't want to be on our weightlifting team.
No thanks.
As much about enjoyment as it was like work.
No, not
and they
watching
would look over and tell, they would tell Coach Abajev.
Yeah, basically.
They would say, oh yeah, I just finished that rep, right? They would do whatever they could to not be trained so hard. But if they didn't follow his orders or whatever, your other pathway was to work in the factories. So here we are, 5th attempt. Still cleaning it like a psycho. Misses that one behind. So 5 attempts at 220. To my knowledge, he's probably hit 220 in training before, maybe walk out, lay down, eat, try to take a nap or whatever. They would come back to train, and they would immediately front squat 120 cold.
Dude, imagine having this as your training day, and that's just like part 1 of like 3. You do this and then just start getting back to work. Hold on. Is this it? Hold on.
Milligrams per week.
Hold up.
Abajev was giving each lifter 180 Dianabol tablets of 5 milligrams per week.
What the fuck? I'm gonna need to break out the calculator for that.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were 40 pill days, and Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday were 20 pill days. They were also being injected with the steroid Ritabolil.
Decadeball classic.
Ristov notes that his urine started turning brown, and he was passing out often during training. He started seeing stars. So they're even more scared before they go to Montreal now.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to get popped. It was going horribly. The lightweights are doing bad. In typical Abajev fashion,
Yeah, for sure. Ronnie could have survived this shit, but like Ronnie and who else? By the way, just for context, that's 900 milligrams of Dianabol a week. 900 milligrams of Dianabol a week. I don't even know what to say to that. I've never. I think the most Anavar I've ever ran was like 100 milligrams a week. So like, I can't fathom, dude. And by the way, these guys aren't taking ancillaries. These guys aren't doing blood work. They're just fucking eating this shit like candy.
brings the team together. Let me introduce you guys to the Magician. Those lifters who had not yet competed would go back on the steroid use, but with the aid of the Magician and his
Wizinator.
catheter. They would empty their bladders before being tested and have it replaced with clean urine by the Magician before they had to submit a sample.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to hear. They were basically running like 900 milligrams fucking Dianabol. Oh, Jesus. I don't even know what to say to that, man. Like, it makes the Duchess compound or the Duchess cocktail seem quaint, right? Like, swishing your mouth with a little bit of fucking Anavar, Turinabol, and Superdrol seems pedestrian when compared to this draconian shit of almost a gram of fucking orals. God, I don't even know if open bodybuilders run a gram of orals. I mean, maybe for like a week or two, but not just perpetually. Jesus. Okay, so it was this thing with more plates, more dates. Yeah, it was this one. That's a great question. I assume a lot of them are dead or like deeply disfigured. Because Decadeball is like guaranteed gyno. Obviously blood pressure is pretty insane.
Yeah, you're just like bracing the sink knowing you're about to get that by some cough that you self-induced by your hormone use. And you're like, God damn it.
Oh, that's trying to
Are you aware of the Bulgarian weightlifting team, like of the past?
Not really.
Have you heard?
If I saw it, maybe.
Have you heard of like Bulgarian training?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a very infamous, if you will, coach. His name's Ivan Abajev. He basically created this system that was the hardest weightlifting system possible. 8 hours a day. You max out 3 to 4 times a day. Sometimes they were maxing out, like I've heard 6 to 9 times a day.
Dude, I couldn't imagine PRing 6 times in a day. It's so unhinged. Also, I don't know if this channel would be possible without Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Like, we can have all the discussions in the world about underdose supplements or testosterone being bunk or any of that shit. And it's all valid criticisms, man. But so many of the dudes that I've either spoken to or have influenced me, or like he gave platforms to Steve and to Leo. Yeah, I mean, I kept waiting for someone else to be a More Plates, More Dates and Climbing. Just no one ever did it. So that's kind of how this thing started.
What they do is they have a session. The session, I think, is like 2.5 to 3 hours long. And they
Creatine time.
work up to maximal lifts, and then they rest 30 minutes. Work up to maximal lifts, rest 30 minutes, work up to maximal lifts. And then that's session 1. And then they do that 3 times a day.
and they have Sundays off. I could be a little bit off on that, but that's it. And it's snatch, clean and jerk, front squat usually. Sometimes they pull. Max Ada, who was like one of my mentors in the past, he actually went and trained with Abajev because he just wanted to do it. Abajev was in America.
Yeah.
He tried to like recreate that here in the States, and it just did not work out, mainly because the drug use was, it's a different game now than it was in the 70s. And there is a...
Okay, so this was in the 70s. I need to update this.
A story here from a guy who was a weightlifter on the 1970s Bulgarian team that is absolutely crazy. And I want to read it to you. I actually also want to show you a big documentary called School of Champions. Yeah, so you can see it's like this old school 70s training thing, and it's like this documentary, and over it, here's Abajev. That's the coach, and you just see these guys getting hammered by him, like absolutely destroyed. And then he sits there, like you see so many missed lifts in this documentary, and then you see him kind of like scolding them, and then there's a bunch of parts where like they're just sitting down and talking, like he's just preaching to them. It's very strange, man. Like basically he just created this system where he's going to beat the shit out of these guys all day, every day, and then when they get to competition, things are going to be easier. So this is an excerpt from one of those guys. His name was Valentin Hristov, and I think there's a younger Valentin Hristov, but this one's from the 70s. So at 15 years old, he snatched 130 and clean and jerked 160. It's very, very good. Then that's what he was selected. That's when Abajev said, okay, I'm going to work with you now. So then Abajev killed him, just murdered him with typical Bulgarian training. At 18 years old, he did 162.5 and 200, which is very good for a natural 18-year-old. Like, that's very solid.
Like, I wish I could react more to Zach, because if we're talking about pharmacology, there's a lot that I could talk to. If there's talking about weightlifting, I know basically nothing about Olympic lifting outside of just being impressed with just the grit and the brute force of it. All right. I'm just taking some supplements. We got some milk thistle, Tudka, and fish oil. And some NAC, because why not? Why does NAC smell so bad, man? Fucking brutal. Yeah, I wish we could just sort of... I wish it was timestamped to the drugs, because I do not know anything about weightlifting, and I wish I knew more.
That at 100 kilos body weight, jerked 220. Jesus. That was 2 months after he did this. 162.5 and 200. Damn. So 2 months later.
Yeah.
Okay? Then...
Dude added 60 kilos in 2 months. Jesus.
No. People started to get scared of doping in like the mid 70s. They were like, okay, we got to like ease up a little bit. He decided to take, he decided to go to a competition 70 days clean or some boost his weight, and weighed at Verona at 108.2 kilos. And he snatched 165.5 and clean and jerked 220. That was 2 months after he, all right, let's take drugs. We want you to be at 110 kilos body weight in 2 months for the European Championships in Verona. I don't know where Verona is. Do you know Italy?
I don't want to guess.
Okay. Shit, I'm going to look like an idiot. So anyways, with his first use of steroids and much stuffing at the training table, Hristov managed to quickly boost his weight and weighed at Verona at 108.2 kilos. And he snatched 165.
A brand name for the...
I think it's got to be Deca, right?
Put in...
Of 5 milligrams per week. Monday, Wednesday, Olympics coming up in Montreal. Like, let's fucking go hard. Okay, here's the fucking protocol. You ready for this shit?
Yeah.
Okay, Abajev was giving each lifter 180 Dianabol tablets of 5 milligrams per week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were 40 pill days, and Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday were 20 pill days. They were also being injected with the steroid Retabolil. What's that? What's Retabolil?
It's probably maybe a brand name for the...
I think it's got to be Deca, right?
Put in Wikipedia, it'll pop up what the actual compound is probably. Okay, so it's like just like a branded version of it, of Nandrolone.
Okay. So
Decadebol Classic.
Yeah, Decadebol. But we'll talk about the dosage in a second.
I wonder how much Deca they were on, actually, because 900 milligrams of D-ball is psychotic.
Hristov notes that his urine started turning brown, and he was passing out often during training.
That's liver stress from 900 milligrams of orals.
He started seeing stars. So they're even more scared before they go to Montreal now.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to get popped. So everyone starts to taper off the drug use. Montreal starts going horribly. He hasn't showed up yet.
Yeah.
The lightweights go, then the heavyweights go. They usually, when you go to Olympic like training centers or like to train for the Olympics or train for Worlds, you get there like 2-3 weeks before to like get ready, and they train really hard, dude. The training halls at these places are amazing because they go fucking hard. And it was going horribly. The lightweights are doing bad. So in typical Abajev fashion, he brings the team together, and it's another one of his fucking speeches, like you see in the documentary. And he's like, "Look, I had to start giving you guys steroids because this is what the Russians did to be successful. It is impossible to not be successful in this sport without steroids. However, the Russians have access to amphetamines that we don't have access to. So it sucks for us. Let me introduce you guys to the magician." Okay?
Did it say the decadose or just the debo dose?
I don't know what the decadose is. I got to find maybe I'll be able to find it. So, those lifters who had not yet competed would go back on the steroid use, but with the aid of the magician and his catheter. He would empty their bladder. They would empty their bladders before.
I mean, this is doping. By the way, no matter what you do, be as passionate at something as Zach is talking about the Bulgarian team. Like, I love how hyped he gets about this shit, man. And by the way, I get this hyped. The idea of like hearing old school guys beating drug tests and just doping to the gills, like I get so amped for this shit, man. I love it. Look, I can appreciate the athletes being like, I am getting abused in ways that are biblical. I don't even know what else to say. But in the same way that you're just like, let's just... I think it was the other lifters, by the way, that hadn't competed yet. But it's like, let's just put the foot on the gas. Everything else be damned. Doesn't matter if I'm pissing brown. Doesn't matter if I'm passing out because my blood pressure's fucked. Just like... full clip, let's see what happens and full send it. And yeah, it's incredible, man. You can't do this to people ethically for obvious reasons, but I will never not be enamored by this. Let's figure out whose piss it was.
Being tested and have it replaced with clean urine by the magician before they had to submit a sample.
I'd like to think that the magician was pissing for everybody.
They said they were going to select one athlete from your team and they were going to test you 2 days out from competition. Or they said they were going to select you and you were going to piss on competition day or something like that. Christoph was the guy selected. This is why this story is amazing, because this is from his account. And he ultimately is incredibly depressed. I think he probably passed away now, but he's not happy about how this whole shit went down.
Yeah.
Obviously. To have to cheat like this, that sucks so bad. Especially on the highest stage in the world.
And his hormones are probably all over the fucking place.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, They said...
I bet his estrogen was pretty fucking incredible.
He had
for
a
sure.
oil.
That's absolutely a thing for CrossFit. I've puked squatting before, but that was before I was enhanced.
On his knee. He was stressed. His brain started changing. His chemistry, he was turning into a different human being.
Yeah, the neurotoxicity from that many androgens is probably real.
So he said he was selected and he opted for the catheter instead of dropping out. He said, "Christ, was this what I banged away so hard for almost 6 years and for 8 hours a day?" Abajev gave him then, once he decided he was going to do the catheter, Abajev gave him 200 tablets of 5 milligrams each for July 24th and July 25th.
It's 2 grams of fucking orals, dude. In 2 days. 2 grams of orals in 2 days. I don't even know what to say to that, dude. It's a month's worth of... Yeah, it's more than a month's worth of drugs for me in 2 days. Jesus.
Another 150 pills for the 26th, the day of his competition.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, so then he wins his gold medal. He goes home, he gets a new Volga automobile upon returning.
Yeah, I can't process that. No, it's more, because then it was also 150 on the day of. I'm laughing. This isn't funny. This isn't okay, but I've got a lot of orals in the house right now, and I'm pretty sure milligram for milligram, that dude basically took more than my entire house worth of orals in a couple days. What do you even do with that information? I am awestruck that his liver works. I mean, diminishing returns, man. At what cost? Like, I'd probably put the curve a bit like this. So, yeah, you can take more. So the answer is yes and no. I don't even know how you'd be able to eat having that many orals. Like, your appetite would probably go to shit. Like, I would be vomiting just from, like, the gastric distress. It's so brutal, man. I can't fathom it, dude. I can't fathom it. To be on 2 grams of probably like 3 grams of orals over the course of 3 days. It's crazy, man. Like, how could you get food down? How could you metabolize that? Like, do I think the strength gain from, I don't know, 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams of Dianabol is that big? Probably not. But you're already, like, maybe you'd get another 1% juice on that, assuming you could tolerate it, which is a very big if. But, like, god damn, dude. That's... So if you want to know what unhinged drug use looks like, you're looking at it. It really makes anything that we're ever going to talk about on this channel seem pedestrian. But, like, god damn, dude. Should link this video just for shock and awe.
And then he gets a notification, you know, I don't know how they figure out, but we found trace amounts of steroids in your urine. It wasn't clean, fully clean piss, or it wasn't able to like, you couldn't get all of your piss out of your bladder. It's not possible, I guess. Yeah. But what do you think of that whole story, dude? This is the Bulgarian team. Like, this is why I want to bring it up, because this shit, like, no one's...
I want to, like, pull out a calculator and even see what that was.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go over the numbers here.
You know it's bad when the dude that does blood work for fucking bodybuilders is like, Jesus Christ, that's too much.
Let's see. So you said 200.
So, like, the initial dose to, like, absolutely go fucking crazy leading up to the Olympics was 180 Dianabol pills at 5 milligrams.
Right, so 900 milligrams per week, right?
Yep. How is that? What's that?
Over 128.57 milligrams per day if you were taking it evenly, but I know they
staggered up and down. They did 50.
But yeah, that's like...
Is that huge?
Yeah, that's huge.
Like, tell me how... Like, what's the...
Like, for context, to get pretty good results, you would take something like...
20 to
30 milligrams, and at most you might take like 40 to 50 per day. And that would be like...
And they were taking what?
128 per day. Well,
I've never met anyone that was taking over 30 D-ball a day, so to be pushing 120 is just like, god damn, dude.
Some days probably like 200, and then some days a bit, but yeah, overall.
Okay, so then... After having, so he had to taper off longer because he's a heavyweight.
That's an example of just like again, obviously I wouldn't expect somebody in the 70s to be educated. Like, there was no information.
But it's also, that's Abijayev, the guy. Like, his training matches his fucking drug use.
But the interesting thing though is when you're looking at the dose clinically for muscle wasting, or what it's actually prescribed for at that time, it's kind of, I'm just wondering what the justification is to be like, you know what, they're prescribing 5 milligrams or 2.5 to 5 milligrams for, I think it was used for HRT for a while, Dianabol. In men, it was like 2.5 milligrams or something would be like therapeutic TRT. Mm-hmm. So let's, fucking 10x it essentially, or 100x it.
So if this will maybe make more sense, Max Ada, like I said, my mentor who trained with Abijayev in the States, he was saying, like, you know what, let me just explain to you what the Bulgarian system is. There's a door right there. What we're going to do is we're going to bash our fucking head against the wall until it opens up instead of taking the door.
Jesus.
Like, this is what we do. I don't care.
Yeah.
We're going to sacrifice everything, our lives. This is us. 8 hours a day training, 6 days a week for 6 to 8 years, right? And you can watch this documentary, man. Like, just sit down and watch it one day, and you'll be like, none of this looks fun.
Yeah.
And there's not one smile in the entire thing. They're all just like dying. Mm-hmm. And he's feeding them copious amounts of drugs. So I think the drug use goes in line with the system.
Right? Oh, yeah, for sure. That's like full board kitchen sink. Well, I don't know how much works, so let's just 10x the dose.
And then... Okay, so like I said, he had to taper off. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many.
Imagine if I did this with climbers, man. Imagine if I just had an unlimited drug budget. I could just hold climbers hostage for fucking 8 hours at a clip and just could genetically engineer superhumans from children. That would be the most unethical thing in the world. I don't think I'd have the stomach to do it, but I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't curious what you could produce. So, look, obviously those doses are way too high than anything you could do for climbers, but one of the things, it's not just about the strength output from the deanable. One of the things that orals or really steroids in general do is it helps with skill acquisition and mind-muscle connection. Like, the neural adaptations from steroids are very, very real. So my thesis is you could probably take two climbers of even skill and even age. You could juice one and leave the other natty, and you could see the juice one get way better skill acquisition than their natty counterpart. And even if you came off the drugs for whatever reason, you would probably keep the skill acquisition better than your natural counterpart, which is pretty wild. But yeah, this is, like, draconian is an understatement. That's just one of the most brutal things I've ever heard. Also, I wonder what his drug budget was to just give that shit out like candy. My God. Anyway, subscribe to Zach Tellender. Download his albums. They're on Spotify. He makes country music. He's a good dude. But yeah, fucking bananas. You know it's bad when Derek from More Plates, More Dates is dumbstruck by your drug use. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, Billy. Like, the first time I heard it, I was dumbstruck. I didn't know this kind of drug use existed. I didn't know that this kind of state-sponsored brutality for their athletes existed. And I'm pretty sure that there's nothing that the Russians or the Chinese or the North Koreans or anyone are doing things like that anymore. But when I think about what's possible with state-sponsored doping, that's what I think about. That's what I'm just like, oh, if that's what's possible, I wonder what everyone's doing. And, you know, I'm sure that it's probably not that unhinged, but what if some of it is, man? Gonna have to look this up. And really, with anything involving doping, you never really know everything that they're using. You usually catch one or two things, but not all of it. It's just like the thing you catch them for, not like the 7 or 8 things that aren't. That's probably fair. I could see some solo people doing some pretty crazy things. I should look over Lance Armstrong's stuff. I don't remember how that all played out. I think it was a whistleblower. I love good state-sponsored doping, man. That's one of my secret kinks. Like, one brilliant dude cheating the system, that's cool. But when it's systemic, man, that's when it's really fun. That's when shit gets interesting to me. Because then we're just sort of like looking at each other in the eye and it's like, we're not doing the rules, right? Yeah, no, we're just going to both try to break these, right? All right, bet. And then you just go for it. And, you know, when it's the US versus Russia or versus China, I think that's incredible to watch. That's theater. God, this is so fucking sexy. Microdosing EPO at night, switching to EPO to blood transfusions after or to beat the tests. Having people on the inside to let them know about when you're going to get tested. Using a team of doctors and couriers and like secret communication so that you could swap shit out and just, oh my God, I love it. I love it so much. And yet, never failed a test. Always been tested, never failed a test. Ugh, so good. So good. No, the enhanced games are going to be bad because the people are fucking idiots. Yes, the Olympics has a lot of doped athletes, but dude, it's not. Testing is expensive. Drugs are cheap. You could run my protocol for under $250 a month, and you could definitely do things to cheapen it out. But the real reason the enhanced game sucks is because people don't know what they're doing. So for the swimming stuff, right? The guy is probably on some GH secretagogues, which he shouldn't be on competition day. He's running a boatload of tests and like fine. Hold on, let me pull this up because it's actually irritating as shit. Enhanced Games Swimmer Protocol. God, this made me want to baby rage. I haven't read this one yet. If I remember correctly, they weren't taking cardarine. They weren't taking anything to upregulate oxygen carrying capacity. They were running GH into the competition, which, like, why would you? That's additional water weight. As far as I know, they weren't doing Retta or anything like that to lean out. Oh, this is USADA. USADA sucks. I made a video about this and I don't remember what they ran, but it really upset me. Why can't I find this? Ugh. Yeah. So basically they said they were running test, BPC, TV500, CJC 1295, and I'm like, where's your cardarine, bro? Why aren't you running... I'd probably run Winstrol or something like that to drive strength acutely. Honestly, you might even be able to get away with Superdrol for something like that. What else would I run? I would easily run Slew. I think that makes sense. You could probably run Slew along with probably Carterine. Run Slew and Carterine together. I would run... Yeah, so what this is missing, you would pull the CJC 1295 on the actual day because you don't need the water retention, so you'd probably pull that 2 weeks out. You should not be running BPC and TB500 chronically because the inflammation blunting response prevents adaptation, and you don't need it. You shouldn't be running those chronically. That's a recipe for cancer. Really, most of the healing peptides, you could use a MOTS-C, you could use a methylene blue. There's other things you could do, but you shouldn't be running any of those into competition. And yeah, obviously testosterone is dope. You could probably ramp that up. But my point is, if this is your protocol, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm embarrassed for you. You should never be... If anyone came to me with this protocol in any sport, I would call you a fucking idiot and take your drugs away. Because this is not how you peak for anything. Yeah, this isn't how you peak for anything. This is at best an off-season recovery compound. I hate it. The fact that they had the audacity to say that this is what they did... Ugh, gross. There's so many better ways to drive performance, and it hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. So, yeah. Even... Okay. You ready for this, Billy? I would, for just raw performance, Abadjeyev's unhinged Deca D-ball protocol was at least more efficacious than this dog shit. Yeah, obviously worse for overall health. I'm sure that the athlete would be healthier on this protocol. But if we're in it to win it, man, Abadjeyev had the right idea in mind. This shit is... Yeah, like this protocol right here is pedestrian. And this is the kind of shit that I would expect from someone that has not done their homework. If you just... This is the protocol of a dude that scrolls Instagram. This is what Lattice extrapolated from me, but worse, after talking to me for 90 minutes. That's the fucking quality of enhanced games fucking protocols. Jesus. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't expect Lattice to have their shit together. I expect so much from the enhanced games. So it hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. They should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed of themselves. Ugh. Yeah, it's... Ugh. Gross. Gross. I need a shower after that. Yeah, I think that's about it. I do want to include all of this, all of the biking stuff in the state-sponsored doping video that I'll probably do later this week. I'll probably do tomorrow. I'm either going to do that or my year in review. But, woof. Dude, I can't talk about the enhanced games. I just get so triggered. Ugh. It hurts me. It hurts me so much. I'm going to pull articles and videos for all this. This is going to take time. I might do my year in review tomorrow. Alright, I think I'm probably going to call it. I need to eat some protein. And my wife gets home pretty soon. Yeah. But yeah, dude. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. This was super fun. Thanks for hanging out while we did research. It was also really nice to watch some cool doping stuff. I'm going to try to do more of that. If I could find some really interesting niche doping stuff that's worth sharing with the channel, I think it's worth doing. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to bounce too. As always, good luck out there. Happy sending. And there will probably be a video out there tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.